G'day, my name's Cannon. Welcome back to NerdCulture Australia movie reviews. We're talking about Samaritan from Sylvester Stallone. Now, this will be the same as the first one that we did for Borderlands. This will be just a pretty well a one-shot take. Again, tried to record this on my mobile phone, did not work, so here we are. Where do we begin? Well, let's start with the general synopsis. We open to dark, gritty scenes, a tale of a fight between two twin brothers, both born with extraordinary capabilities. One who's chosen, for whatever reason, to attempt to bring around the destruction of the city that he lives in, and the other choosing to save it. Their names are Nemesis and Samaritan. I will let you guess which ones are which. Okay. The story ends with tell of a catastrophic event in which both or one die, but either way, both Nemesis and Samaritan disappear from the scene. We then cut to several years later down the line, where not all is well with the city. Crime is rampant, cops are powerless, people are struggling to make ends meet, and we follow a boy around as he wends his way through the world. You know, he is rather a large fan of Samaritan. He has tried for at least, we're given to understand, a good couple of months to find Samaritan, or at least identify people who he thinks might be that particular hero. Because he, one, holds hope that Samaritan is still around, but two, also recognizes in that way that children do, that sometimes we need a hero to fix things. Whether that hero is a parent or another authority figure, whatever. He realizes that there is a problem, and he's looking for a hero, despite the fact that everybody else seems to think that Samaritan is gone, well and truly, for good. Either way, he falls in with gang members who hire him to do a few jobs. He then gets into trouble, finds himself on the wrong end of a beating, and is saved by Stallone, who I'm fairly certain everybody would understand if they were watching this is definitely going to be one or the other. Right? Now, obviously I've seen the film, so I have some prior knowledge. So, you know, if you don't want me to spoil it, stop watching now, go watch the film, and then come back. But he ostensibly saves the kid, who then looks up to him in that way that people who get saved often do. That is like, oh, you're my hero. He goes, nah, just have to be passing through. Kind of just want to be left alone to live, and goes on about his stuff. Unfortunately, during the fight scene, he does grab one of the gang members' blades and crushes it quite severely. The kid keeps a hold of this as evidence that Stallone might indeed be Samaritan. Right? Unfortunately, Stallone's intervening in the beating does have a knock-on effect of the gang members having his ticket. He gets run over by a car right in front of the kid, which then kicks off the rest of the film. Stallone obviously survives the encounter after a few tense seconds where his mangled body is lying in the middle of the road, having been hit. We are then introduced to, I would say, not a mechanic, but a plot point where Sylvester has to cool his body down. The way that he explains it is, you know, when he does things, when he gets hit or punched, it generates heat. And if he generates too much heat, bad things happen. So he jumps in the shower to cool down and then sits down to eat a bucket of ice cream. Which, to be honest, while I was watching, I was really craving ice cream too. Not gonna lie. Now, I did admit to skipping several times throughout the film as I wanted to progress the story. This was, to be honest, a little long-winded. So there is that. It's just yeah. The story is a bit slow, right? Anyway, story progresses. The leader of the gang decides that he wants to basically emulate Nemesis. He breaks into the police station where the evidence of Samaritan and Nemesis last fight is stored, basically their masks and Nemesis' weapon, being a sledgehammer that he made himself, I believe. So he then steals those and puts out on social media, look, I'm Nemesis, I'm back. It's time to basically take the city from the authorities, essentially. We're going to create havoc and chaos and turn the city over to whoever decides they want to run things pretty well. So they set up to do exactly that. Meanwhile, Stallone is as his character is gradually becoming more and more involved in helping and saving people. He has been hounded on. Well, there's the car incident. He gets followed a fair bit. He does a little bit of fighting. Things come to a head when the gang leader finally decides to kick everything off, and while he's, unleashing chaos and havoc upon the city, he also kidnaps the kid, who Stallone's character has grown quite fond of, in a weird sort of annoying way. Either way, Stallone decides to bring things to a head, bring things to a close, and goes off to have one final out, or at least rescue the kid, and then disappear. Because prior to the fight, he's sitting at a train stop, waiting for the next train to come so that he can leave and disappear into obscurity again, because people are beginning to ask questions that he doesn't want to answer. Throughout this whole thing, he gets frequent flashbacks to Samaritan and Nemesis' final fight. And these grow more violent and cause him more pain as the film goes on, which I thought was a nice touch. Clearly alluding to, obviously he's one of them survived. Who's it gonna be? During the fight with the gang leader, he announces basically, I'm Nemesis, right? I'm the bad guy. So he reclaims his weapon, proceeds to kick ass, and also set the building that he's fighting on in fire. Just an added slice of danger to, spice things up a little bit. But understandably, he wins, saves the kid, and then disappears. At the end of the fight with the gang leader, he's basically in the same position as he is in the fight with his brother, but instead of trying to save the gang leader like he did with his brother, he just lets him fall into a fiery abyss. After which he throws his mask down into the hole with him, going, that's it, it's finally done, it's over, it's buried, Nemesis is dead. Properly this time. And then the film ends. So that's a rather long-winded explanation of the story. Now, I'm not going to lie. The parts where Sylvester Stallone is fighting and winning look badass. Yes, it's pretty long-winded. However, it's still a decent film. I would say definitely parts where you would absolutely sit down and watch, but there are also some parts in there where it's just good for background noise. Just something to have on. So, it's okay. It is an okay film. It's not something that I would probably go out of my way to recommend, but it is definitely one of those ones where it's like, it was okay. I enjoyed it for what it was. It was pretty good. I will say this: Stallone does look tired in this. He looks tired. He looks worn out. He looks old. He looks like it wants it to be over with. Whether or not that's because that's what he's supposed to be acting as, that's his character that's old and tired, or that it's the man himself. But there is a huge difference between the Stallone that I saw in this film and any and all of the clips that I've seen for Tulsa King, right? The TV series that he's been involved in recently. Yes, I'm going to watch it. No, I haven't gotten around to it yet. I believe it's on one of the other streaming platforms. I'll get to it eventually. So, I hope it's the character that he's playing through. I really do. All in all, pretty decent. There are some other actors in there that I vaguely recognize. The bad guy, I believe, also plays... Oh, what is it? I think he might be from Game of Thrones. I think. I'll have to get back to you on that one. The bad guy is definitely a well-known face. I recognize him from a lot of stuff that I've seen, at least on YouTube, for a lot of it. You see like shorts for movies and films that people have watched or just taking stuff from. So I recognize the face, basically, is what it is. He does a pretty good job as a bad guy. Maybe that's what I'm recognizing him from, is another role where another TV series or movie where he was a bad guy. So we'll go with that. He's a good bad guy. But yeah, to wrap it up, I liked it well enough. Yeah, I skipped through some bits. It was a bit slow in parts. But it was a good action-y kind of film. You know, fighting, mindless violence. The story had something to it. It just took a bit to get there. Had thought about giving star ratings, but those are overrated. The film was okay. So if you like what you saw, please like, comment, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching.